morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of voice of radio, and that voice is a little croaky today, but I've just found a winning Lycanroc deck, and I really want to show you this winning Lycanroc deck, and kind of ask the question, does that mean all fighting stuff is good now? Is just all fighting stuff good now that we get all the fighting support in Mega Evolution? The answer could be yes, honestly. Every fighting thing got a bazillion times better. Now, Lycanroc, I would forgive you if some of you had forgotten what Lycanroc did. It was a very interesting card that never really went anywhere. Now, it came around in Journey Together and did have a redonkulous illustration rare, but it had an ability, Spike Clad. When you played it from your hand, evolve one of your Pokemon, you can attach up to 2 spiky energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Okay, that's pretty cool. And it had an attack for 3 colorless energy that did 40 damage plus 40 more for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. But bearing in mind, it wasn't really a free energy attack. It was a single energy attack because all you need to do here is have 1 energy on there and 2 spiky energy in a discard pile, and as soon as you evolve up into it, you're gonna get the extra 2 energy, and oh look, now you're up and rolling. You do need to get 2 spiky energy in the discard pile before you evolve into it, fine, but if you do, well, that's really not that much to ask. You are talking about a single energy Pokemon. This seems like a pretty gosh darn good idea. By the way, spiky energy here says, as long as it's attached to a Pokemon, it's colorless energy. But if it's active and damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Now, realistically, most of the time, this Lycanroc is rocking 120 HP, pun intended. You're going to get KO'd by a lot of stuff in the format. That's not the point. The point is you're putting 2, 4, 6, 8 damage counters on when you KO, which means the next Lycanroc coming in, and this is a full-on Lycanroc deck, is going to hit a lot harder than the last one did. That is the point of this Pokemon. That is the point of spiky energy. The first Lycanroc ain't going to hit that hard, but the Lycanroc that come along after absolutely are. Now, one of the big new tricks we got in the new set in Mega Evolution, that is Lunatone. Lunatone, now admittedly, you have to have Solrock in play. It's not that hard to pull off. And then, once during a turn, you can discard a basic fighting from your hand and draw 3. Now, worth noting that if you've used this at all, you can't use it again. It is hard limited to 1 Lycanroc per turn. I'm absolutely fine with this. This is a legit draw engine that is going to get you an extra 3 cards a turn. Love it. Absolutely love it. No notes. This is one of the things that makes these decks so good. Shaman actually becomes very important in this deck as well, because remember, you get the spiky energy when you evolve. But generally speaking, what you really want to do here is evolve just before you attack, so that you can use the evolution to get the spiky energy off the Pokemon that was just KO'd. For that reason, you kind of want to actually leave a bunch of unevolved Rockruff on your bench, which means that all of a sudden Shaman becomes really important to protect those Pokemon on your bench. So fine, play Shaman. We have Shaman nowadays. Get that protection on your bench. No one cares. That's why you play Shaman. Move on. Bloodmoon and Sudowoodo becomes a play in this deck. It's fairly unsubtle. Does what it does in every deck. But basically, when your opponent's taken a bunch of prizes, this comes in for 1 or no energy. 1 if they've taken 4 prizes, none if they've taken 5, and it's 240. Huge attack without having to worry about setting anything else up. Yeah, that's perfect. Unsubtle, but absolutely does the trick. And then the other Pokemon we're going to be playing here is even Sudowoodo. That's right. One that we do see popping up in decks here and there, but then by the same token, it's not like this is some kind of like super widely played Pokemon. It's just a nice little tech that pops up as a one-of in a bunch of decks, like this one. Now, single energy, 20 damage, stop them retreating. That can be great for buying turn to set up. But also 2 energy, flip a coin if heads, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and copy it. I am not saying build your game plan around try to imitate, because if you flip tails, that's a bad game plan. What I am saying, however, is why not? Why not have it as a backup? You're up against a Mega Manectric. You can't beat Mega Manectric. You know what you can do? Flip a coin and if heads you KO it for free prizes. Yeah, there we go. Sometimes, and this is especially true when you have a Mega Pokemon that has an attack that can KO itself, like Manectric, it's worth flipping that coin. If you're winning anyway, no, don't risk it, obviously. But if you're not, I mean, Manectric's got weakness, so you're probably going to be fine against Manectric, but you get the point. If it's a Mega that's got an attack that does enough damage to KO itself, yes. Absolutely yes. Now, in terms of trainer cards, there are a couple of other new tricks, some that see play, some that don't. But Risky Ruin seems like a pretty gosh darn good new card, because Risky Ruin says that if you bench a non-darkness Pokemon, you take 2 damage counters. Now, admittedly, your Pokemon will be taking 2 damage counters. It's not really that big a deal. Outside of maybe like Shaman, it's really not that big of a deal, because your Pokemon are weak anyway, and they're getting protected on the bench by Shaman. So I don't think we really need to worry too much about it. It's going to be fine. But for your opponent, those 2 damage counters represent an extra 80 damage for Lycanroc. Yeah, your opponent is absolutely going to care here. They are going to care a lot, because those 2 damage counters equal 80 damage, and that's a very, 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 very big deal. Honestly, like, legitimately great card. Speaking of great cards that we love in this deck very specifically, we've got the new item card Fight Gong, which lets you search your deck for a basic fighting Pokemon or a basic fighting energy. Oh. Yeah, there's a deck that plays a bunch of basic fighting you're going to need to search out. And there's a deck that plays a bunch of basic fighting energy, which you're definitely going to need for like a Lycanroc. Add all that together, this becomes a ridiculously good card. Another one which we see in here, which we don't see in many decks at all, is Vengeful Punch. It's a tool card, came around in Obsidian Flames. We've had it for a while. But if it's attached to a Pokemon, which is knocked out by damage when attacked from your opponent's Pokemon, put 4 damage counters on them. It's kind of like double spiky energy, but it only works if you get KO'd. Well, yeah, you're going to get KO'd most of the time. We've already had the chat about the fact that your Pokemon are very weak. Sure, your opponent can gust around, try and get some of your bench Pokemon instead, but if they can't, and also, it doesn't like fall off the end of your turn or anything, so sure, they can gust around it now, but now you've still got Lycanroc, and you've still got Spiky Energy, and you've still got Vengeful Punch, and you can keep going and keep attacking with the same one. Love this. Absolutely love this. The other card we should mention is our A-Spec of choice here is Secret Box. Honestly, not such a secret anymore. I'm going to be honest with you. It's played in a lot of decks, but it gets you everything you need. Like, it's basically a magic setup card. Gets you an item, a tool, a supporter, and a stadium card. Yeah. Add that all up together, and we are sitting tidy. And to be fair, we should mention Hassle here, just because it's not a card that sees a huge amount of play. It's a little bit unusual. And what we got from Hassle is, you can only use it if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn. Well, yeah, that's going to happen a lot with playing single prize Pokemon. Look at the top 8 cards of your deck, put 3 of them into your hand. That is very good. It only really works if you're playing a deck where you're playing a bunch of single prize Pokemon where you're getting one knocked out pretty much every turn. The good news is, that is exactly what this deck is, and in that regard, it's honestly kinda beautiful. Here's a list as a whole. I love this deck. I think this deck is really, really fun. The fact that you're using single prizes is good, But with having Fight Gong now and Lycanroc, the deck has gotten a lot more consistent. Having Risky Ruins to put some damage counters on before your opponent ever gets rolling, that is also a very, very nice option. You add it all together, and we're looking at a very consistent deck with single prize Pokemon that can drive your opponent absolutely crazy. But I have told you about it all now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Evan Parker, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and seems to be a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.